Good evening, I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. The American Civil Liberties Union continues to advocate for police reform in Maryland. It hosted an online news conference today to talk about ongoing efforts in the state legislature. The group is demanding 5 key reforms, including measures that would create transparent investigations into police conduct, limit the use of force by police statewide, and repeal of the Police Officers' Bill of Rights. Speakers included lawmakers and the relatives of people killed by law enforcement. One of the speakers was Nikki Owens. Her cousin, William Greene, was shot and killed while handcuffed and seated in a police cruiser in January of 2020.
My cousin sat in the car handcuffed and was shot 6 times. My cousin died in fear. My cousin died probably confused as to why this man shot him. But I would just like to ask lawmakers, what is your problem? Why are you okay watching us die in the street like this? Why are you okay watching people that you have some level of control over do this without any type of disciplinary action?
Former Prince George's police officer Michael Owen faces murder charges in connection with Greene's death. They are called PFAs, a group of common chemicals found in water-resistant clothing, stain-resistant furniture, nonstick cookware, and other consumer products. The chemicals are useful in products as diverse as umbrellas, food wrappers, and firefighting foam. But research has shown that PFAs may be contaminating soil and drinking water. These health concerns have prompted new legislation in Maryland.
The legislation is addressing a ban. We're looking at primary contact with known products that have PFAS problems or PFAS chemicals in them. And the kind of health impacts are a number of different health impacts, and it's still being studied to this day. We have kidney and testicular cancer is caused, known to be caused by high levels of PFAS. Disruption, immune suppression, high cholesterol, liver disease, so there's a number of different diseases and cancers that have been linked to high levels of PFAS. And
the PFAS Protection Act will have a virtual Senate hearing this Thursday. Holiday cards, stimulus checks, and bills, those are just a few of the things arriving late in the mail these days. Yesterday, my son received this Christmas gift postmarked on December 14th. Within minutes of posting this photo on social media, dozens of people responded with similar stories about how they too have received late mail. Of particular concern are those whose bills or payments are delayed. Many are worried about excessive late fees and the effect that it could have on their credit scores.
My husband pays the electric bill, or I pay whoever gets the electric bill pays it. It's just how we alternate our bills. And so I assumed he paid November's bill, and he assumed I paid November's bill. So when December's bill came last week in January, we saw they came on the same day, and we saw that, here was November's bill, and now here's December's bill, and in red writing, it says, your bill is past due.
So I had a bill in particular that I know we paid back on December 11th. It still hasn't gotten there. And I didn't know it until I got a statement in the mail, and I've been on hold from them. I still haven't gotten through to them because the last time I called, I was caller number 24, and they gave a number we could call back, and they never called me back.
Financial experts say to avoid late bills, set up direct debit payments from your bank account and avoid sending checks through the mail. A Maryland congressman is playing a key role in the second impeachment of former President Donald Trump. Democrat Jamie Raskin is the lead impeachment manager. In this role last night, he laid out the accusations against Trump as the article of impeachment was formally presented to the Senate. Trump is charged with inciting the riot at the U.S. Capitol back on January 6. At least 17 Republican senators would have to vote along with Democrats to convict Trump. If convicted, he would be barred from running for office again.
Thus incited by President Trump, members of the crowd he had addressed in an attempt to, among other objectives, interfere with the joint session's solemn constitutional duty to certify the results of the 2020 presidential election, unlawfully breached and vandalized the Capitol, injured and killed law enforcement personnel, menaced members of Congress, the Vice President, and congressional personnel, and engaged in other violent, deadly, destructive, and seditious acts. President Trump's conduct on January 6, 2021 followed his prior efforts to subvert and obstruct the certification of the results of the 2020 presidential election.
The trial is set to begin on February 8th. Prince George's lawmakers are considering a proposal to investigate whether any county officials took part in the Capitol Hill insurrection. 7 of 11 county council members are backing a resolution calling for a probe. If adopted, any person who participated in the riots could face sanctions or removal. The sanctions would also affect people serving in volunteer positions. President Biden is moving forward with plans to place a renowned 19th century abolitionist on the $20 bill. Plans to place Harriet Tubman's image on the bill were introduced during the Obama administration, but were delayed by the Trump White House. The Biden administration announced yesterday that it will speed up the process to place her on the currency. Tubman, who escaped slavery, led hundreds of enslaved people to freedom through the Underground Railroad. She would replace Andrew Jackson and be the first African-American featured on a U.S. bill. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallen. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're looking at me in the future. Okay. Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
Wait a second.
Do you know who I am?
Julia.
This is Jaina. Into the future. I just wanted to talk to you about what happened with those 2 girls.
Oh, yeah?
Do you remember it was this girl that I was getting bullied by that one day at PE when they were like yelling at me, and then you just linked arms with me? I don't think you know how much like that helped me, because like I finally like knew that I had somebody. Because of you, Isaac, and what you did for me years ago, I grew up to be more independent and love myself and just be a little bit more confident.
Aw, I'm like a little tearing up right now. Just to see her in the future just blossom and look beautiful, and that was really amazing.
I moved to Florida with literally pennies in my pocket and a prayer. I needed a new start. Dacian looks like a very typical 3-year-old until you ask him, "What's your name? How old are you?" My son has a lot of behaviors that would show as being autistic. Most kids can tolerate a variety of foods, but unfortunately for Dacian, everything has to be organic and raw. I wasn't ashamed to go to the food pantries. It's expensive to eat healthy, and nutrition is very important to Dacian's health. The healthy organic food that we receive dramatically helped his social skills. Most people would say she really doesn't have much of a life, but to me, I have everything right there next to me and my son.
The Maryland Health Department reports more than 1,400 new COVID-19 cases. This brings the state's total confirmed cases to more than 344,000. Meantime, the agency today is reporting 62 COVID deaths. Currently, more than 1,600 Marylanders are hospitalized with the disease. Maryland lawmakers are considering a bill that would address equipment problems that caused a deadly Silver Spring apartment explosion back in 2016. The National Transportation Safety Board concluded that a defective indoor mercury service regulator was the probable cause. Many of the devices are inside buildings constructed before the 1960s, and records are so old that it's been difficult to locate where the regulators are still in use. The bill would require landlords to schedule immediate replacement of those devices. The fiery explosion killed 7 people, including 2 children. Prince George's police are investigating the fatal shooting of a man in Palmer Park. The victim, 39-year-old James Simon Jr. of Clinton, was discovered about noon yesterday in the 2100 block of East Spring Place. Simon was taken to a hospital where he died later in the evening. Anyone with information about the incident is asked to contact police. Meantime, police arrest a man in connection with a weekend murder in Buoy. This is the suspect, 18-year-old Marquette Holmes of District Heights. Investigators say he shot and killed 17-year-old Joshua Salvador of Buoy at about 4 p.m. on Saturday. It happened in the 6700 block of Laurel Buoy Road. Police say the two were involved in an ongoing dispute. Police were notified of the shooting when a 911 dispatcher received a call that a group of friends were driving Salvador to the hospital. Holmes is being held without bond. We'll move over. Michelle Obama and Meghan Markle. There's a new podcaster on the scene, and she's just 16 years old. Keisha Butts has the details.
Hello everyone, welcome to Perfect Timing Podcast. I am your host, Sydney Chandler Monet, and today I have an amazing trailblazer with me, Ian Michael Brock.
At just 16 years old, Sydney Chandler Monet is giving peers her age a voice through her new podcast. It's called Perfect Timing. Monet says she created the podcast in June, and the idea came from her mom.
When the pandemic first started, as I am a ballet dancer, my schedule was completely shut down. So she was like, why don't we start something? I think it's called like a podcast. And I was like, okay, let's like just touch my toes in a little bit. Let's see what it's like. Who knew it would bring me to where I am right now? But I would say my mom was pretty much the foundation of how my podcast started.
So far, Monet is taking the podcast world by storm. Elite Conversations has named her #1 podcaster for 2020. She's interviewed many youngsters such as 12-year-old crochet designer and author Jonah Larson. Monet is not only featuring her peers, she's also interviewed the artistic director of the Washington School of Ballet, Julie Kent. Monet says she's excited to see people all over the country reach out to her.
People are seeing me from everywhere, and it gives me that reminder like, oh, people actually can see what I'm doing, and they don't just live like down the street from me. Like they're coming from all over, and it's just really like touching and like inspiring. I'm just so excited that I'm able to be that activist in their lives and that they wanted to reach out and be a part of my organization. So what have you learned, or how have these individuals helped to inspire you to be the person that you are today?
You can listen to Perfect Timing podcasts on Elite Conversations, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. This is Keisha Butts with CTV News. Back to you.
The county health department is warning residents about a possible rabies exposure in Fairmont Heights. According to officials, 2 stray dogs may have been exposed to rabies from a raccoon back on January 17th. The interaction between the dogs and raccoon happened at the 6100 block of Kolb Street. The raccoon was captured and tested positive for the disease. 1 dog was picked up, but the second is still on the run. Anyone who believes they may have been exposed to rabies should contact the health department at 301-583-3750. Now let's get a quick check on our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 34. Wednesday, mostly sunny with rain and snow expected in the evening. Daytime temps reach a high near 45 and a low of 28. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 36 and a low around 21. And Friday, sunny with a high near 34 and a low around 20 degrees. Now for your community calendar, join Councilmember Danielle Glaros for lunch during Virtual Connections. This week, you can hear from Denise McCain, Director of Prince George's County Family Justice Center. Learn about resources and services for survivors and victims of domestic violence, elder abuse, and more. The event is tomorrow, Wednesday, January 27th at noon. To register for the forum, use the link on the screen or call 301-952-3060. And that wraps up our newscast. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great evening.
Children are spending more time at home. Teachers, parents, neighbors, and friends, it's up to you to keep them safe. Now more than ever, it's important to stay connected. By phone, video chat, and social media. If you have concerns or see changes in a child, be there for them. Ask questions. Seek help. Report suspected child abuse or neglect.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's not.